Hey guys, Trav back again. I want to continue our discussion on floor builders by quickly kind of summarizing some of the things we talked about in the last video, and then also showing you a prototype floor builder that I've come up with here that I think is going to work for us. So before we get into that, just to kind of cover some of the things we discussed in that last video, we talked about maybe using a little smart piston assembly like this to place our floor, but then we came up and that presented a problem where we couldn't use slabs with that, which is what we wanted to use. So then we decided, well, maybe if we send the floor slabs down and then have them turn, we could use a little piston observer assembly that would push slabs over, and we would just change this design here, and then what that would do is change the direction and continue that out all the way across the perimeter. So then we discussed using a clock, and we came up with a couple different designs. You know, maybe something like this, but then we ran into a problem where it's so fast, it's really glitchy, and this didn't exactly meet our needs. So we scrapped that idea, even though this whole machine is pushable with slime. So then we kind of test around with clocks and timing and slowed things down, and that's illustrated through this. And this would slow down the push, so that way we could, you know, place slabs like this without them disappearing or anything like that. And then it presented the next problem is, well, how do we continue these slabs all the way across the perimeter? So we constructed this little conveyor system, which would move blocks over, as you can see. Oh, we're at our push limit, as you can see. Let's get rid of some of these. And then what we would do is we would just rebuild these conveyors all the way down whenever necessary. So there it goes, carrying the blocks down. Just like that. So something like that would work. So keeping both of these things in mind, you know, using a clock to push the slabs and then the conveyor systems, we can kind of put them together with this machine. And this machine's kind of a hodgepodge of a couple different designs off the Prototech server off Java, and I'll send a link to their channel below. But basically, in the corner of our perimeter, we're going to have a clock set up. And then we're going to have this water stream, which is going to have a dispenser sending parts to it, so we can constantly keep loaded with parts. And the pulses continue down on these tracks all the way to our machine. And what this machine here does is it uses these pistons, which are going to place our floor. Alright, and by using those, when this thing hits its push limits, this observer being moved up and down on this sticky piston is going to be delayed at the bottom long enough to energize this piston, which is going to move this whole thing forward, because this whole thing is a flying machine. And then when that all moves forward, we have these extensions back here which carries that momentum over to this side. And what these extensions do is they push a couple different things. So they push these, and what this does is the glass block pushes along the water stream, breaking the floor slabs, and this side here breaks these leaf blocks, holding up that side. This side here will break these leaf blocks, and this little gap is where I would sit and continue to place floor slabs as this thing built, and then that way I could get pushed along and don't have to move. We would just have to place these beforehand. So we're pushing that forward, but also we're pushing this forward. And what this is just our conveyor system. And I've repeated that conveyor system all the way down with push bars behind them, alright, to push all that stuff forward. And then what we've realized is create a couple problems. When we get to the end and all this stuff moves forward, that slab is going to get carried forward because of this slime block. So it's going to leave a gap like this. So what this does is when the machine moves forward, that sends a pulse which pushes that slab back in place and brings the glass block back. So that way everything's nice and flush. We'll put these back. So it keeps the floor flush. And this is carried all the way down here. And I've made this 150 long, about a couple more than 150. So everything's within render distance. To make it longer, I would have a second account on here standing in the middle. And I wanted to build it to this size to see if my PlayStation would explode or not. So far, everything seems to be working pretty well. I haven't had any issues. So I think I could do this running all the way across the whole perimeter. We'll see. At the end, you're going to be left with this from your water stream, and we could just break those. Oh, and by the way, even if I didn't have this go the whole way across the perimeter, I would just rebuild the machine and do one more run. Not a big deal. All this is I have it up in the air now because it's on the grass blocks, but all this would be built on the bottom level. You know, this would all be the bedrock, and that's not going to affect anything because it's all going to slide right over that, so that's not a big deal. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to send the last few slabs in, so then that way we could see it as the whole machine cycles. Okay, so we'll send the last few slabs, and there's a nice top-down view, and let's watch this machine cycle. Alright, so let's put these last few blocks in here. One thing I did want to bring up is we could use other kinds of blocks on this slab, so we can use glass. And that would work fine. So let's get these last couple in and see this thing cycle. So hit push limit, everything moves forward. All the way down to the end. And we're left with a nice clean floor because these have pushed the slab back into place. And that's it. That's our floor builder. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. To kind of recap, we discussed the couple of the challenges we're going to face when designing something like this, and how we overcame them using conveyor systems and actually using a clock. Thank you guys for all the support lately. I do appreciate it. Continue to leave a like and comment below with any questions or problems you run into. Subscribe for future PlayStation 4 Minecraft content. This is Trav. Enjoy your week. Over and out.